All right, so we're going to get into the midweek outlook now of the week of September. I think it's 15th. Yeah, September 15th. So a lot's happened. Today was FOMC. So if you're not familiar with that, that is when the federal funds rate information drops, the news drops saying, hey, are we going to keep interest rates the same or are we going to reduce them, which affects all of the currencies because the US dollar is the dominant currency in the world. So Jerome Powell and the Fed decided to lower interest rates by a quarter, which is 25 or 0.25. So 25, I think 25 basis points. I forget how to read it, but essentially just a quarter. And so that sparked a lot of volatility. And now I think the markets are going to start moving again. We're getting a lot of price action that happened. And I'm going to show you now that it's in line with exactly what we analyzed in the beginning of the week market outlook. So looking at GU, starting from the macro perspective on the daily, remember that we analyzed looking at this liquidity point that got mitigated, which was sparked by mitigation of a 4-hour price gap in the discount side. We notated this area of interest, and as I stated in that previous video, we could get 50% or 100% fill of this area of interest, and we got 100% fill, and we got the immediate response showing that there is still selling pressure inside of the premium of this macro range. So now we can look for potential opportunities to catch sells if you didn't already catch the initial sell. So looking for pullback into this from the micro perspective or meso and micro perspective, and pulling back into this area, looking for opportunities to continue to sell lower, or you can forego that and wait for more price action. So if you want to wait for this low to get broken and have this price leg fully generated, so the two scenarios that I'm talking about would be one, we already got the fill. So the first scenario would be looking for that generation there and then the pullback. So looking something like this, in which you would want to wait for this liquidity point to be broken. So you have it's much more conservative, but you have a lot more price action and stuff to play on, in which you'll be very conservative and wait for that price leg to be generated, in which we wait for this liquidity point to be broken. Or you can go ahead and see if price pulls back into the meso price action, or the meso structure and microstructure inside of the last daily candle, and get an entry from that and play towards the liquidity point rather than being conservative and waiting for that liquidity point to be mitigated. But remember that based off of the models that we have, this is a POI response model that's playing out because we didn't go ahead and just enter or find a specific candle inside of this area of interest to enter on. There was an opportunity here, but I'm not going to talk about that in the market outlook. So that's GU right now. Moving on to UJ, as expected, as we stated, I told you guys I took a trade, closed it early, but as far as the market outlook goes, we analyzed that we were going to take out the low of the current price leg based on the logic that all of the internal consolidation inside of this price leg was already balanced. The bullish entry that we had failed to basically materialize and push us higher. So the only other option is to move lower, and which we did. We broke the current price leg and we pushed a little bit lower. We haven't pushed yet to the sponsored candle or the area of interest that we are looking to get entries off of, but that's totally fine. So we're still waiting for that, but overall this worked as analyzed, and we've already taken out this price leg, which is very promising. So that was also a part of the FOMC. So everything's being set up to push us either higher or lower outside of this area of consolidation, which we've already begun drawing lower outside of this price leg. So now we're going to get price action to either push us higher, and in which I'll be like, well, dang, I missed my entry, or I'll just catch entries as we move higher. Or the other scenario is I'm looking for, if I'm holding this bullish bias still, is a pullback into the sponsor candle, 20-minute sponsor candle that I have notated inside of the macro area of interest, which is a price gap, and in the previous price leg, and I want to see that as an entry and then push higher. If not, then the last scenario is we just continue pushing lower, and then if we do that, I don't see any reason for this this price action to stay inside the range, as everything preceding this current price leg that we have now after breaking this price leg is everything is balanced. So there's no opportunities, there's no reason to look for any buying opportunities. So essentially, this to me is the last buying opportunity if we are going to stay in this range and push higher. So really counting on this to give us that response and give us that entry. If not, well, we're going to have to essentially change up our bias or wait and sit on the sidelines until the low of this range is broken, or we get an opportunity to present itself with succeeding price action after we break through this area of interest. All right, and then on to the NASDAQ. Okay, the NASDAQ. Once again, we're still in a bullish bias. The only thing that happened today essentially was a pullback, and I'm not going to say a pullback in the price leg. Essentially, we just had a slight candle pullback to mitigate a price gap, which was here. Oop. Mitigate that there. And once that price gap was mitigated, as you can see, we are still pushing higher. So the price leg has not fully materialized yet. We have not created an insertion point yet. We have not broken any previous lows inside of this yet, so we're still waiting for price to go ahead and generate that. And so if price is to push higher from here, then this would now be considered the low, in which we would wait to see if that low breaks, and that will give us the full price leg and begin the pullback into whatever is in this area. So we're still waiting for that price action to occur. Nothing else for NASDAQ. Just waiting on that pullback and give us opportunities to catch more trades. All right, so that's it for the midweek outlook. If you have any questions, once again, ask on the channels. Peace.